Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to Adronis, the Universal Ladder free webinar. So we have our live stream broadcast also on my YouTube channel as well too. So hello everybody on YouTube who is tuning into this live. So how this is going to work is if you guys were available for last month's free webinar, then you pretty much know the drill. But for those of you who are new, who are just starting to log in right now, all questions when we get into the Q&A with Adronis will be brought forward through Zoom here. So I have a co-host named Zach. Zach, did you want to come on and just say hello?
Hi, everybody. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Zach will be taking your questions later on once we get into Q&A. So you guys will be able to use your microphones. And what you'll also do is for attendees that are in Zoom right now, as you hover over your name on the participants, you'll see a raise hand button. Okay, so you guys want to just go ahead and click on your raise hand button right now and just practice it. Okay, good. We're still getting more people filing in here as well too. So great, thank you guys. You can go ahead and you can take your hand down now. That's good. So that is what you'll use when you have a question when we get into the Q&A with Adronis. Okay, so if you guys have an audio-based question. So audio-based question, you raise your hand, Zach will go over to you, he'll mention your name, he'll click an allow to talk button, and then you guys will be able to ask up to 2 questions to Adronis. Okay, so it's a 2-question maximum for those who have, those are on audio, okay? The second option is the Q&A app. Okay, so you'll find just at the bottom of your screen a Q&A app, and there's a little window that opens up, and you're able to type in your question, and those questions will be listed into the box, and then Zach will be kind of going back and forth between audio-based questions and text-based questions in the Q&A. Okay, so hopefully that sorts everything out. Just wanted to give that little bit of a tidbit for those of you who do want to interact with Adronis. So again, a reminder, it's just a 2-question maximum for Adronis because we're going to have a lot of attendees here, and we want to try and get everybody to ask a question to Adronis who wants to. And it's pretty much any question you want, whether it's personal or general in nature. You're welcome to ask a question to Adronis. So like I said, I think that's basically it for the interface. And everybody on YouTube is just viewing this through YouTube. And if you guys on YouTube still want to participate, there still is a little bit of room here in the Zoom webinar. So you'll just find on my chat, on the YouTube chat, if you just kind of scroll up a little bit, you'll see my comments and you'll see the link there, the registration link. It's free, don't worry, it doesn't cost anything to get onto Zoom, okay? And you can click on that. And if you want to participate and interact with Adronis later on, then you can certainly do that as well too. So like I said, this is a free webinar, but if you guys want to leave donations, you're more than welcome to, either on YouTube Super Chat or on newearthteachings.com. There's a donate page there through PayPal. So if you guys want to leave a donation, that's always appreciated. But yes, this event is free, okay? All right, so usually what we do to get things started is we just start to center ourselves, ground ourselves through meditation. So we're gonna go ahead and start that now. So wherever you are, if you're sitting at your kitchen table or wherever, let's just see if we can get a seated position, okay? And we're just gonna place our hands upon the center of our chest. And we're just gonna go ahead now and close our eyes as we begin a grounding meditation. So let's take 3 deep breaths in and out. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. And one more time, inhale. Exhale. And just relaxing and breathing normally. And now I just want you to bring your focus and awareness down to the base of your spine. And I want you to imagine etheric roots coming out of the base of your spine and just flowing down the bottom of your feet, going all the way out, down to the bottom of feet, and going deeply into the ground, these etheric roots, okay, black in color. And you're feeling those roots going deeper and deeper and deeper into the earth. And in that moment, with all of those deep etheric roots into the earth, I want you just to feel like you're letting go of anything that you feel may be conflicting, may be bothersome, distracting to you, whatever you feel that is. I just want you to feel like you're just channeling that energy and just flowing it out through the roots. All right. And just putting it deeply into the earth. Okay. So the earth is going to naturally transmute those energies. That's what she does. Okay. So we're just naturally putting any of those particular forms of concerns, worries, anxieties, distractions, and just flowing them through the roots and just putting them directly into the earth. Okay. And let's just take a few moments to do that now. Okay, and now we're going to imagine that there is a soft brown liquid from the earth that is now starting to come up through the etheric roots now. So we're now seeing this brown liquid energy coming up through the etheric roots. It's connecting directly to our feet. It's moving up through our ankles, moving up through our legs, and connecting directly to the base of the spine. This is again the grounding energy of the earth as we ground ourselves, where we feel as grounded as a tree. As that energy moves up into the base of the spine, we are now going to work in calibrating our chakra centers. Okay, so we're going to start off with the root chakra colored in red. So I want you just to see an apple colored red, all right, just like a color of an apple within your mind. I just want you to see that pure color of red. And using your finger, either physical finger or astral finger, doesn't matter, you're just going to start swirling counterclockwise that color of red, just like you're looking at a liquid pool of apple red. Okay. And you're just going to start swirling it a total of 7 times counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we move up into the next chakra, which is the navel chakra. And we're seeing it as an orange pool of liquid energy. Okay. So just like the orange fruit. Okay. And now, having your finger there, counterclockwise spiral 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Moving up now into the solar plexus chakra, colored lemon yellow. Okay, that liquid pool of color energy. And swirling that 7 times counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Moving up now into the heart center, colored green, like grass. Seeing that liquid color energy. Swirling 7 times counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Moving up now into the throat chakra, colored sky blue, aquamarine. Okay, so seeing that sky blue, aquamarine color, that color energy pool, counterclockwise 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Moving up next into the third eye chakra, colored ocean blue. All right, so seeing the ocean blue color energy, counterclockwise 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Moving up next into the crown chakra, colored violet. Okay, that violet pool, color energy, counterclockwise 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want you now just to feel like you're gathering your oxygen right from the base of your belly and you're breathing it up. Inhale. Bring all of that oxygen up to the top of your head. Exhale. Feel the crown chakra opening up like a lotus flower and feeling this rainbow light of energy cascading down your body like a fountain and going all the way down to the bottom of your feet and moving up into the area of the perineum. Okay, as it moves up into the area of the perineum, you're now going to see a toroidal field from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet. Okay, and you're just seeing the vortices now connecting together at the center point of your body. So this toroidal field is now just slowly starting to spin in a counterclockwise direction. As it spins in a counterclockwise direction, you're going to see white spirit light coming directly into the toroidal field and feeling this white spirit light magnetizing directly into the toroidal field. And this is your connection to spirit. This is your connection to God. This is the connection to your center. And that whatever you wish spirit light to work on in this moment, if you have maybe some sort of stiffness, any particular form of impairment, anything of that nature, just call upon spirit light. Feel that light coming upon the area of your body that you want to work with. Bring it into a great amount of love. Feel a positive thought, a happy memory, a very strong, loving feeling, and just feel that spirit light working on that area, and just feeling like the old debris is just starting to dissolve away as spirit light works upon it. Okay, so you can continue to do that throughout the entire interaction today through the webinar. Okay, so let's again take another deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, we can now come back into the present moment. All right, so that is just a nice little warm-up meditation to get us ready so that we can start to bring in Adronis. Okay, so again, just a reminder for you guys that when we do go into the Q&A, because Adronis is going to do his presentation first, and then when we get into the Q&A, you can again just raise your hands and ask an audio question. So you're just raising your hands if you have a question that you want to share through audio. Okay, for those of you who may be shy, right, you can use the Q&A app as well too and type in your text-based question. Okay. All right. So very good. I will go ahead now and get into the channeling state and bring Adronis through. So usually the interaction, the presentation takes about 30 to 45 minutes. Once we get through the presentation, then we'll be going into Q&A. So again, it is all about the universal ladder, looking into different dimensions, looking into the flow of consciousness, how to access different levels of consciousness through the universal ladder, which Adronis will be discussing today. Okay. All right, so I will go ahead now and bring Adronis in. It'll just take a minute and we'll begin the interaction. Here we go. Tera. Soul Star. Sirius. Adronis. We are here at this time, and we bid you greetings and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. We ask all of you now at this time to let yourselves get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. The universal ladder. Now, you must understand that where you exist physically is the very bottom rung of this ladder, which means physical reality, material reality, is as dense as it gets. When you are existing in this material plane, even though you are existing within an interface that is very materialized, that is very solid, that is very physical, it is the idea about being able to work more to the degree of your own natural state of consciousness. Because where you may feel that a physical body here, that again you may sense is quite limited, may have fragility to it, may have conditions and limitations based upon it. It is when you actually start to work together in harmony with all things that you realize that the dense weight of reality really doesn't matter. Because you can make yourself as light as you wish, even in the most dense reality possible. That when you start bringing your levels of consciousness up the other rungs of the ladder and moving all the way up into the heavenly rungs of the ladder, you're doing this while still in a physical body. You are looking at the great masters of your ancient times who have incarnated in a physical body and have gone beyond the limitation, the boundaries, the conditions, the beliefs that once caused them to feel that they were in a fragile form, a conditioned form, a limited form. So as you start to move yourself up more consciously, relating to the idea of understanding how your thoughts work, how your feelings work, how your ideas work, then you are no longer going to see yourself confined in a physical body. You will understand that this will simply be a unit, a variable pertaining to the totality of yourself. So even though the physical body has, in that sense, a complex design to it, and also relates itself into physical form and physical matter, you are able to uplift it, which means you are getting on the same level as the intelligence of the body itself. And here's where we say that many of you are not even close to aligning to the intelligence of that body. Because if you are completely in alignment, in simpatico nature, relating to your own physical body, you'll never be ill. You'll never have any belief systems. You'll have no limitations applied to yourself whatsoever when you're at the same intelligence of the body. Because the body is truly a harmonious device. It's a love machine, in another way of putting it, which means that the body has its own intelligence. And when you connect to that own intelligence, and you therefore are on par with one another, you will experience grandiose effects of what the body is going to teach you. It'll tell you exactly what it requires for it to be at optimal health. And it's not just food, it's not just diet, it's not just exercise. It's your own mentality. It's your own structure of feelings. It's your matrix. For when you allow yourself to move into higher states of feelings, do you know that the body has the capacity to live forever? Did you know that? Because it can. One example of this is through what you term as the deathless yogi, known as Mahavatar Babaji. That he is simply deathless. He still has a body. And he is able to appear and disappear. He is able to materialize or dematerialize his form. He is able to work together with his environment vividly. This is something that each of you can do as well. But what has happened is that there has been pollution. And the pollution of yourselves, the pollution of your minds, is actually what's taking a toll on the body. What if we told you there is no such thing as age? That there's no such thing as getting old? Do you know why you get old? Do you know why you get aged? Because of the pollution of your mind. That's why. Because you think thoughts that make you feel separate from everybody else. You think in these states of illusion that put you apart with everybody else. You lack the aspect of unifying with others, and you go more into a state of great enforced limitation you put upon yourself. The idea of the wrinkles upon the face, that the chronic conditions that the body experiences, the illnesses, the ailments, the dis-ease, is all part of the old age effect. It's an effect. It's not an absolute property. just like space and time are side effects. The aspect relating to your own age is a side effect of the pollution of your mind. So it's not about saying, well, Adronis, I just want to get out of this third density reality. I want to get out of this 3D nature. I want to go up into higher planes. You can do that at any time. Your consciousness is the one that is elevating yourself up these planes like a ladder. And this is why we term it as a universal ladder. How deeply, how diligently, how passionately are you looking to climb that universal ladder? Because many of you feel, well, because I have a physical body, I can't really go anywhere. That's incorrect. You can go absolutely anywhere. You can climb any rung of this ladder. Yes, you will still have a physical body, but the physical body will work together with you because it does have a pure intelligence. It is the most sophisticated vehicle ever created, and it can go with you to other places, which means that you can experience other dimensions. You can experience the astral plane while you're here in the physical body. You can experience the causal plane while you're here in the physical body. You can experience the Akashic records while you're here in the physical body. You can go all the way up to God while you're here in the physical body. This is the nature of climbing the universal ladder. There are no limits other than the limits that you apply to yourselves. So as you start to move further up the universal ladder, oh, Adronis, maybe I want to talk to Pleiadians that exist in the causal plane. Go ahead. Or Syrians that exist in the causal plane. Go ahead. Or ascended masters in these higher planes of consciousness. Go right ahead. You can. But what's stopping you, again, is your own belief. It's your pollution. It's the mental pollution that you put into your body. The mental pollution, the emotional pollution, the physical pollution. This is what's causing you to age. This is what's causing your body to become frail. This is what's causing your vitality to become lesser and lesser. Is because you point out all of these things where you feel that you are absolutely limited. In fact, we could talk to the majority of your planet right now and saying, how many of you are afraid of growing old or afraid of dying? And in fact, many of you may raise your hands. Not all of you, but many of you. And through that manyness of people raising their hands, their fear of getting old, their fear of getting frail, their fear of dying, that is what's going to lead them to that conclusion. Because you're the ones that are empowering it. You're the ones that are giving so much of your pollution power. And you feel every particular way to do this brilliantly, which means you are brilliant saboteurs to yourselves. You brilliantly align this great godlike power to yourselves where you feel that you are frail, that you can't do anything, that your body's going to get sick, that you're going to get sick and die someday, and that will be the end of it. And so many of you think this way. But we are telling you that when you actually start to take all of that energy that relates to that fear and you turn everything around, you can actually live hundreds or even thousands of years in a physical body, here and now. Some of you may even live to an untold, incalculable level of consciousness pertaining to the physical body. It could be millions of years, billions of years, for as long as the earth exists. It's exactly what Mahavatar Babaji has been able to achieve. He can live in his body for as long as he wishes. There's no expiration date other than his own choosing. So if he can do it, why can't all of you? Do you see? You have to decontaminate yourselves. You need to clean up all of the pollution that you have placed within your minds. You want to get to the same intelligence level as your body because your body communicates through you simplistically. It's a simple thing. It's conversational. You can talk to your heart right now. Heart, how are you feeling? I feel pretty down in the dumps. I feel like I'm blocked. I feel like I can't get anything done. I feel like I'm unloved, etc., etc. So, what do you do when your heart is like that? You embrace it, you bring it love. You see, your body is not just going to be blocked for the heck of it. It's not just going to be blocked because it's bored. It is blocked because there is an impairment there. There is a disease there. There is an ailment there. And it all really has to do with your own feelings of yourself, how you see the world, how you see others, how you see your environment, the current events taking place upon your planet. You again succumb to the idea of pain vibration, and your body reverberates to that effect. Oh, this person doesn't understand me. I feel unloved. I can't do this. I can't do that. All of these ripple effects hit your body as soon as you go into those aspects of negativity. You think that when you feel something negative, that you are able to experience that by being completely unscathed by it. No. When you think of something negative, it's like taking a pin and putting it directly into your arm or another area of your body. As that negativity grows, those pins become daggers. And you are impaling yourself with these dagger level forms of negativity. You are not going to go unscathed by thinking negative. This impacts your body. This hurts your cellular body. This hurts the major organs. This hurts the bodily systems. Every single time you think negative, it's a pin in yourself. And when that grows, it's a dagger within yourself. And it can grow even more severe. They can be swords, they can be spears. You can impale yourself by constantly thinking negatively. It is not the idea of feeling that when you are putting so much emotional heat into a state of negativity that you are not going to be scathed by it. You are going to be scathed by it, because that's the feeling that you're putting behind everything. You don't know the power of your own feelings. You don't know the power of your own thoughts. And by you being ignorant to the idea of its energy, you are sabotaging yourself. You are harming yourself. You are hurting yourself. And you can even cause fatality to yourself in the greater extremes of negativity. That's what it does. Because humans invented suffering. God didn't. You did. Human beings on this planet are the very inventors to their suffering. You are the very inventors to punishment. You are the very inventors to all forms of negativity that is greatly impacting yourselves. And this will only continue to get more intense and more intense and more intense the more that you keep thinking in that way, the more that you keep bringing emotional states in that direction. Again, you are plummeting the daggers, the swords, the spears into yourselves. So, Adronis, what do? We look at the other side of the coin. We realize, firstly, that we're doing this, and now we move into a positive reinforcement direction, as we've talked about so many times with you, is that you are using reinforcement to bring about statements of grand perfection, that you see yourself as perfection. Oh, Adronis, that's a really, really hard thing to do. It's because you've been seeing yourself for so long being imperfect. But just like one who wants to master the craft of artistry, you have to practice this. You need to get into the practicing nature constantly of encouraging yourself, of bringing love and bringing compassion. It's not just going to hit you like a lightning bolt and all of a sudden, okay, I'm the most positive person on the planet. I'm as positive as Jesus was, just by getting hit by this red button lightning bolt. No, it is the aspect of you, like a craft, practicing the idea of working with love energy, working with compassion. If you see something fundamentally negative within yourself, you catch it. You become aware of it. You're not going into its story, but you are aware of how it is linked, how it is rooted into you. It's something that makes you feel fearful, angry, sad. Traumas relating to abandonment, rejection, abuse. It's lack. And now that I know it's within me, I can now start to work together with positive reinforcement because I've been practicing this every single day. And I've been practicing this every single hour. And I'm thinking about it all the time. Well, there you go. That's what makes a great artist because they keep practicing with their art. That's what makes a great athlete because they keep practicing their athletic prowess. That's what makes a great carpenter. They're becoming more aware of the work, of the skills that they have to fasten something out of carpentry, a table, a chair, etc. Well, the same thing goes with you. You are becoming a positive artisan because you're practicing it every single day, not just on yourself, but on others. You call up your mother, you call up your father, you call up your brother, your sister, your kids, your husband, your wife, and you bless them. You are not getting involved with their melodramas. You are blessing them because that is all that you need to do. They are souls just as you are. They are truly your brothers and your sisters. So why not love them to the grandest degree? And guess what happens when you do that? You start moving up the universal ladder. You start moving up into these higher planes. You start seeing all of these gateways opening up within yourself. You meet body intelligence. You now meet emotional intelligence. You now meet mental intelligence. You now start walking these other realms simultaneously while still existing here in the physical. You now start walking the astral plane onto these other worlds because your love energy has brought you there. You're able to go and mingle with other great masters in the causal plane because your love energy has brought you there. You are now able to connect deeper to God. You're able to go into your center. You're able to go home to your source and let spirit flow through you and have all these amazing, miraculous based events and situations manifest in your life because nothing involving your life has anything to do with the ego anymore. It's about spirit. It's about love. It's about happiness. It's about compassion. It's about source. It's about God. That's what it's about. So, are you becoming love artisans? Are you practicing this art every single day? Are you working with this craft in the greatest potential that you can? Because that's what an artist does. That's what a carpenter does. That's what an athlete does. Why can't you feel that you can do this as a love artisan? Practicing every single day, not wishing for some type of divine intervention where you get hit with a lightning bolt by pressing a red button. And that'll take care of everything. You're not on that level to reach that because you see yourself as completely imperfect. You do not feel that you're worthy of another person just giving you a hug, let alone you feel that you can just wash away all these forms of contaminations within yourself. You haven't even begun to work as an artisan at this level. Because when you start to work as an artisan at this level, this ladder becomes available to you in every shape, way, or form at any moment. It's not about you having to rigorously climb the ladder. It's about you just making a simple ascent through feelings, through the knowingness that you are existing in multiple realities at the same time, because that's how we exist. We exist in multiple realities simultaneously, the spheres of consciousness, as we say. This too is a ladder. We can connect with Brad. We have this transmission, we share this interaction with you, but that's one out of countless realities that we experience. Well, this can be the exact same thing with you. When you look at these masters who have been artisans of love for many, many years, they are walking many different realities at the same time, yet they're still in a physical body. Can they tell you about these realms? Oh, yes, they can, because they are consciously aware of it. Nothing within their consciousness is in slumber, which means you do not have any blank out periods. You are conscientiously aware of every single plane that you walk. You are conscientiously aware of every form of consciousness that you're connecting with. How is that done? Love artisan. That's your art form. That is your nature. You love it as much as art, but it is natural to you. That is how you are going to make a great difference in your life, is by practicing these ways of love, of compassion, of joy, and happiness every single day, as often as you can, until it becomes so natural to you that life is as beautiful as a heavenly dream. Because that's all this is a dream. Many of you turn it into a nightmare. But Adronis, why do we do this? Why do we turn things into nightmares? Because you are so used of having other people telling you what to do, how to behave, how to live, how to exist. Because you don't think you have the intelligence to do it yourselves. When of course you do. That's why you're in your own body. That's why you're existing in the way that you are. Everything has been decided based upon what you say, what you do, what you think, what actions you take. That has never changed. You've always been in charge of yourself. You've always followed through with where you felt you needed to go. Whether you say it's negative or positive, doesn't matter. You still have charted that course and you've taken action upon it. For we are speaking to many different types of people right now, all walks of life. Healers, psychics, mediums, channelers, teachers, engineers, architects, artists, musicians, dancers, the list goes on. Politicians, perhaps. All different walks of life. You were the ones that brought you into all of those catalysts of what you are doing with yourselves now. The families that you have, your own choosing. Your mother, your father, your choice. Your brother, your sister, your choice. Your children, your choice. Your partner, your choice. Your friend circle, your choice. Where you live on the planet, your choice. What you do for a living, your choice. Your financial abundance, your choice. Do you see this? How all of these circles represent all part of your cooperation. Whether you feel that they are positive or negative doesn't matter. You involved yourself in these circles, in these rings of activity, in these rings of interactions. You've made it happen. It's like looking at the rings of a tree and looking at all of these rings that can determine the tree's age. Well, each of these rings represent the ages pertaining to your participation, your activities, your interactions with people. It's all these rings around you. And at any particular time, when you look deeply into it and you have a willingness to change it, you can. Absolutely. But not through the power of your human consciousness, through the power of spirit, through the power of love. Because when you start looking at all of this stuff intellectually, and you're using statistics and you're using practicalities, and that's all you're thinking about, no, you're going to be very, very limited to the ability to change. The ability to change is coming through your heart. It is coming through you following a path that is truly natural to you, so that you can walk up and down this ladder, so that you can go to these different levels of consciousness. Any of you could speak to any extraterrestrial civilization that you wish right now. Right now. Do you? No. Why? Oh, because we don't feel like that's possible. We don't feel that we've actually made contact, etc., etc. You come up with excuses. You put limitations upon yourself because you still don't understand how the true universal matrix works. You are what matters. You're the center point. You're the focal point. You're the dot on that blank canvas. And through the center point of that dot exists everything else that you can draw around you, like an artist. Here's me talking to my cousin. Great. Here's me talking to an 8-foot tall Octurian being. Great. Here's me talking to the dolphins. Great. Here's me talking to a lion. Great. Here's me talking to a giant boulder. Great. Here's me talking to people in the Fey realm. Great. Here's me looking in the library of the Akashic Records. Great. You can do it all. But you have to get behind yourself to be the supporter, to play with all of these different intentions, because you still see yourself as imperfect. As long as you see yourself as imperfect, you will limit yourself. You will condition yourself. You will put yourself in a box because I'm itty bitty little tiny and I'm only this big and everybody else has some better thing that they can do greater than myself. And that's how I'm going to live. I will exist inside this cube. And that is something you create because you feel you're imperfect. What if we told you, every single one of you that is listening to this right now, that you are absolutely perfect? Pfft, come on, Adronis. Stop pulling our legs here. No, we mean it. 100% here. That you are absolutely perfect. That we have never looked at any of you since our interactions as imperfect. We have seen you all as perfect beings. What amuses us, really, is how many of you will fight and defend to feeling like you are useless, to feeling like you are so heavily conditioned and you are just bathing in lack. You know this is not what you prefer, yet you do it anyways. Why? Can any of you answer that? Why do you feel like, oh, because somebody else told me, or because I was raised to feel like I was good for nothing, or that I was raised to be hurt, I was raised to be punished, I was raised to be in constant pain? All self-imposed, all self-applied, even in your younger years. Because again, these are all just facets of yourselves coming together in heavy emotional states and saying, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm horrible, I'm awful, I'm diseased, I'm polluted, etc., etc. And you go off into that trail completely in a state of ignorance, unaware that you can change all of that very, very quickly by being a love artisan. That's it. That's all it takes. Even if it's the smallest thought, even if it's the smallest feeling that represents a love direction, that's all you need to get started. For those of you that are indoors right now, maybe there's a window right next to you. Go look out that window right now. We'll wait. Look at this planet. Look what is available to you on this world. Look at its beauty. It asks for nothing from you. All it knows how to do is give to humanity. It doesn't ask for anything in return. If you take an apple from a tree, is that tree going to start bullying you and saying, hey, you better pay me back next week because I gave you this apple? No. If you go to a stream and drink the water, is the stream now going to grab you by the throat and saying, hey, you better replace that water or else? No. The animals on your planet, your cats, your dogs, your domesticated forms of animals, whatever you want to play with. When they play with you, when they cuddle on your lap, in their mouth, do you see a bill? All right, I gave you this time today, so this is what you have to owe me next week. No. You see, nature doesn't know how to live in lack like you humans do. They don't get it. They don't get how you live in lack so much. Well, Adronis, all this chaos is happening around the world, and all this stuff is happening around the world, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you're thinking of some place to justify the lack that you are experiencing. What have we just told you to do? Be love artisans. Wherever you see lack in the world, what do? Do you complain about it? Do you whine about it? Do you argue about it? Do you fight and debate about it? No, because that's you putting pins and needles and daggers and swords and spears into yourself through greater extremes. What have we told you to do? Be love artisans. Practice love every single day. Compassion every single day. Joy and happiness every single day, starting off with just a very, very simple thought, a small feeling, and now it builds up and it gets greater and greater and greater and greater and greater. And it's like a craft. It's an art form, but it's even more than that. It's your nature. This is what you do. Someone's suffering, I bring them love. Someone's having a hard time with money, I bring them love and remind them of what they are capable of. Someone's doing a hard time with a relationship, I go there and I embrace them with love and compassion. I see them in perfection. And now they accept that as well. And now they start following love, and now everything starts to work out. But it wasn't me who did that for them. It was themselves. I'm just a provider of this love energy. I am not responsible for fixing people. I am not responsible for feeling that I'm the one that gets them back on track. It does not matter if they are adults, and it does not matter if they are children. You're a provider. You're a love artisan. You practice this love every single day. It's so strong with you. And you love it. You love the love. And now you can scale the universal ladder. Now you can go talk to Jesus. Now you can go talk to Buddha. Now you can go talk to Baba Ji. Now you can talk to any of the masters. Now you can talk to other higher conscious extraterrestrials, to angels. But most importantly, you talk to God, because that's the greatest of all. And God works through you every single moment. You make your vessel pure, and it becomes a body temple. As it becomes a body temple, spirit occupies this. And everything that you say, you think, you do is the working of spirit. It is not I, but the Father that worketh through me. And that's when you're free. That's when you're boundless. That's when you can do anything you want in this matrix, or even go beyond it. That's how it's done. You will never, ever get there by playing with the ego in an expansive way. You won't, because you're taking that cube and you're shrinking it down the larger that your ego is. And as it becomes less and less and less, that cube shatters. And now you're able to see the matrix unveiled. You're able to see the universe as it is, in all forms of expression, in all dimensions, and all possibilities. You can communicate with everything through feelings and through the simplicity of spell work. What that means is you are utilizing precise, simplified terms to take a course of action on what you want to apply relating to manifestation. And you want to start off with the most powerful definition first: God, Spirit, Source, and then state your intention simplistically. Well, Adronis, can you give us an example? God, bring love to family. That's it. And you say those simple words with utmost intention of love and compassion behind it, because that's what matters the most. It's not just saying words for words' sake. You can create neutralization with words where you feel completely unemotional and it has no, as you would say, oomph behind it. There is no panache behind those words when you're speaking like a robot. So when you therefore put out an intention, a spell, that spell has absolute beautiful feelings behind it. It's filled with love. God, bring love to family. God, heal my body to perfection. Simple as that. We didn't need to go into the details and saying, oh, it's my liver, oh, it's my kidneys. No, you see yourself in totality. And this is where the ladder becomes a dot. This is where everything all together becomes this little particle, because you see everything in a totality nature now. There is no longer the aspect of scales or ladders or measurements pertaining to levels. You only look at that because it's giving you a better understanding of what can exist throughout these different compartments. But whenever you compartmentalize yourself, you limit yourself. Oh, I'm only going to work on my kidneys today. Well, what about the rest of your body? Work on it in totality. Sure, you can explore the different facets of your body, but as you have a general understanding about how your body works, bring it into perfection, in totality, through the particle. And that, again, is absolving anything pertaining to a ladder or a scale. So as you begin, as you work through being a love artisan, you're going to use a ladder. You're going to have scales. You're going to have levels, because you want to meet yourself to what you have applied based on what makes sense to you. If you feel that you have put a lot of limitations upon yourself, well, these are compartments. You want to visit every single one of those compartments until you are compartmentless. So what that means is, oh, my kidney is hurting, or I have this hard thing with my family. I have this hard thing with my partner. I have this hard thing with my children. Compartment, 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 compartment. And you're clearing out those compartments, those divisions of yourself, because it's like looking at shattered glass. It's like looking at all these fractures here. And you're seeing, well, there's this fracture over here, and there's this fracture over here, and there's this fracture over here. What happens when that glass is made whole? There's totality. It's flawless. There's no crack in the glass anymore that represents a division. You're seeing it in totality. And that's what you're doing. You're being this glass mechanic who is repairing the fractures in the glass to once again make it flawless. So you're only playing with compartments until you realize that compartmentalization is meaningless. And now it starts to dissolve. It starts to repair itself, and it becomes clear glass again. And now you're looking at the totality of the glass rather than the fractures and the subdivisions and the compartments that you create. So this is, all in all together, the realization that the universe truly is open to you in every shape, way, and form of the way of expressing this. To go all the way up to God is available to you right now. To imbue yourself completely with spirit, and everything that you say, you do, you think is spirit working through you. But in order for you to truly understand this, you must become the love artisan, practicing this every single day, outgrowing the idea of limiting yourselves, outgrowing the idea of feeling that everything is fragile, everything is conditional, everything is limited, but this person's doing this, but this person's doing that. Oh, Donald Trump is doing this. Who cares? Give them love, give them compassion, give them support, regardless of who it is. Because when you put that much love and compassion upon everybody, everybody moves into that stream. And now it is the aspect of divine providence that's working through everybody. It's divine intervention that's working through everybody because this world is getting absolutely filled with love and compassionate energy. Because you're all love artisans. You're practicing this all the time. And all that's in you now is love. You don't have despair. You don't have regret. You don't need to hide behind a shield and protect your inadequacies and your insecurities. You drop the shield. You're completely open and vulnerable. But love is your sheath. It surrounds you. And it brings you into divine states of prosperity where every single rung of that ladder can now be climbed without effort, making a constant ascent, going to the summit, as Brad says, sitting on your throne. And now it's between you and God. It's between you and the heavens. Same thing with this ladder. Go up and up and up and up as high as you want. Go low, 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 as deep as you want. Into the bowels of physical reality, if you wish. It's all available to you. Nobody is going to tell you what you can and can't do. And anybody that does is just a reciprocation of how you are seeing yourself. Because you have this mentality in yourself saying, somebody tell me what to do because I don't know what to do. Somebody hurt me, abuse me, because maybe then at least I'll get attention. If I'm hurt and abused, if I'm punished, hey, I have something to complain about. I have people that give me this sympathy. And people crave that. But again, all you're doing is you're making that cube smaller and smaller and tighter and tighter. And those needles are turning into daggers. Because you get hooked like a drug addict on other people's sympathy. You get hooked like a drug addict by feeling like you have to win over people. And that's an addiction. That is a mental addiction because it is coming from a person who is starved for attention because they have put so much lack into their body instead of love. When you are truly a loving person, you do not seek attention. You do not seek any particular forms of illusionary power. You do not seek fame or fortune. You are simply at peace. Everyone is you. Everything is you. The all and the null. It's all you. So why would you need attention when everything else is infinitely you? Do you see? It's people who are starved. And that's the whole idea. They are love starved. And that's why they become victims. That's why they become angry. That's why they become aggressive. That's why they become fearful. That's why they become depressed, in despair, in lack, because they are love starved. And when you start to be this provider as a love artisan, you feed that lack with love and you just present it to them. It's up to them to take that love energy and put that into themselves. But again, when you are completely a beacon of love, we will say that in the majority sense, people will immediately align to that. There is an allure to love because you're all love. Even if something doesn't happen right away, that love is still there. And that person is going to feel that love which means every single one of you have the spark of innocence inside you. Yes, we're even talking about your elitists. We're even talking about your cabals. We're even talking about people that govern these types of agencies. Every human being has that spark of innocence within them. Every soul has that innocence within that soul. And when you become the representation of that innocence, it will impact a person. Perhaps not right away, but down the road, absolutely. It never ever leaves when a person that pure comes into your life. And you, all of you, whom we are speaking to right now, have the opportunity to be those pure people by being love artisans. So you can climb the universal ladder and experience all that there is here and now while still within a body. We thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction. We will now conclude this presentation and move forward into your question and answer period. Firstly, may we say hello to Zach.
Hi there, Adronis.
Hello, Zach. How are you this day of your time?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Becoming more loving each day. So, yeah. How are you doing?
We are wonderful as always. So, we thank you again for being a part of this, and please feel free to proceed in any way you wish pertaining to your question and answer interaction.
Absolutely. Okay, so first text question from Rita Breyer. May I ask about severe pains? The first I have had while dreaming. The second one, the other night, was with Saint Germain, sending the violet flame through my body. It was extremely painful. Now I've seen a couple of times that these are ascension symptoms. Thank you.
Now, the idea pertaining to the violet flame in that way is not a painful energy. It's the aspect of the pollution within yourself that's actually making it painful, just as we've discussed. So when you are looking into the idea of working with healing energies and you feel like there's a lot of pain happening here, it's not the light that's coming into you that's causing that pain. It's through the idea of fermented pollution energy that is contained inside your body physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. When that energy in that sense is now starting to be worked upon, yes, you will feel side effects. And these side effects will relate to the idea of pain impulses, perhaps the feeling of nausea or headaches, diarrhea, etc. This happens because this is part of the metamorphosis. Think of it in this way. When your body is ill, what does it do? Quite commonly, it goes into a type of stasis, which means there's a fever that breaks. Your body goes through an intense fever, not because it's trying to hurt itself, but because this is the process of how it is able to work through the debris that is contained inside its structure. Well, the same thing goes with this. It's your emotional states, it's your mental states, it's your physical states that are, again, completely atrophied based upon years and years and years of pain, years and years and years of pollution. So as that energy from Saint Germain, from the violet flame, comes into yourself, yes, it's burning up all of this debris. And what you're feeling is the result of that debris being burned up because there's so much heavy pollution within your body over the years that this flame is now starting to burn it up. And now you're feeling things happening within yourself. Same thing goes within the dream state. It's opening up your mind and it's taking you on a tour of areas within yourself that are in pain. And you have the ability now to completely remedy that just the same. What did we say? Love artisan. And as you become a love artisan, you're putting all of this energy into yourself. You're clearing away the stale energy. You're clearing away the stagnancy. You're clearing away the disease. You're clearing away the toxicity. You're clearing away the pollutions. This is what we mean. So you just work with the compartments for as long as the compartments are there, like the fractured glass. And when that fractured glass now starts to become whole, there is no more compartmentalization. It's all just clear glass. So just keep working with the fractures for as long as you're there. But yes, this is the side effects. of getting all of that debris consciousness out of you is the aspect of working to heal the pain body, because the pain body has already been in there from the get-go, relating to when all this pollution came into the body, and it's now being evacuated. And that too is an equal and opposite reaction to where you're going to feel relief, where you're going to feel release, where you're going to feel happiness, where you're going to feel lighter. All right. We thank you for your question.
Okay, audio question from Connie Damon. Go ahead, Connie.
Hello, Connie. She may not be present. Please move on to the next question.
Okay. If you could unmute yourself, please, Paul Lucky. Paul, your microphone may not be working. Okay, and you've muted yourself. Okay, moving on to the next question. Question from Darquis Valenzuela.
Thank you. About 3 weeks ago, Adronis, I have two questions.
Yes,
I saw my husband walking. I was in my computer room. I saw my husband walking outside. It was definitely him, just taking his walk as he usually does. But I knew he was in the house. So I went back in our bedroom at the same time, and there he was in the bedroom on his computer. I want to know. I know people can bilocate. I don't think it's that, but I have a feeling, was it a glitch in a kind of reality? What happened then? That's my first question.
All right. Well, see, again, whenever you see this particular type of phenomena, it's the idea of trying to identify it through a certain known state of perspective. So, and again, many of you may see this as a glitch, whereas we say this may be, in that sense, the nature of an astral doppelganger. So the whole idea in that sense is that you're seeing his astral presence, and of course, his physical presence is still in the room.
Oh, I see. Is that something he projects, or
many of you are not actually conscious that you're doing this? Now, we have talked about what is known as background people, is that there are certain background people that many of you will witness walking up and down the busy city streets, but those particular versions of people are actually just projections. The actual physical body may be elsewhere. So what you're actually noticing in that sense is often the idea of a duplicity situation, relating to the idea that there's an astral version of your husband walking around while the physical version is still seated at his desk.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
All right.
My other question is, about 2-3 months ago, I had this vivid dream. I cannot say lucid, but vivid. There were dozens and dozens UFO, very colorful, rainbow-like, flying everywhere. And I turned around and I looked and I said, look, they're here, they're here. And the feeling I was in awe. It was just awe. And they were so beautiful. That's all I could see. And then I woke up and I was just, wow, they're everywhere.
Correct.
This is wonderful. So is someone communicating with me, or is just being more aware, and in my dream I communicate? Can you elaborate on that?
You went to them.
Oh.
So what happens is you pierced a veil.
Wow.
A veil dropped within your dream state, and you were able to see all these rainbow ships because previously you had a question. Are you guys here? Yes, we are. We're just behind a sheath. We're just behind a veil. And at times you will be able to have an opening of that window where you'll be able to go through and see these beautiful luminescent craft everywhere.
It was just so beautiful. Thank you very much.
And it's very real. So please remember
it's very, yeah, there was no fear. There was nothing. It was just awe.
Absolutely. They're here.
It was
They've been here for a
beautiful.
very, very long time. It's again just other facets of yourself that is indeed beautiful, hiding behind other veils because it's not yet time to reveal, but in time
Okay.
there will be.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Text question from Slavo Ariansky.
Yes.
I have question about free energy device, the
Yes.
Bashar space-time antenna or the Hendershot generator. How is it the basic principle to generate free energy that we can develop?
Well, a lot of these are what you term as zero-point technology. They basically work with a space and time field, and they basically work with toroidal field energies. Now, with Bashar, you may want to talk to him personally because that's what he has shared with everybody. We're not basically looking to talk over him because that's what he has shared. So we would suggest you talk to him more about that. But a lot of this has to do with the idea of the harnessing of the zero-point field through toroidal energy. So basically working together like with your ancient pyramid technologies and ancient technologies that were able to build many of these sites upon the planet in ancient times. It is a similar technology to that, and it's widely available to you right now. It's all about the idea of harnessing the toroidal fields, the zero-point energy, the funnel in that way. That's why the aspect of an example, Bashar's own space-time device has that funneling. Looks like two cones, two funnels in that way. That is the impression of a toroidal field. And being able to work together with that and being able to harness that energy can therefore be possible. So again, working together with appropriate coils and appropriate geometry and mathematics will allow, through the idea of the operation of a certain device, to collect that energy that can therefore be sustainable, built upon appropriate states of scales, appropriate as well to however you want to use it in that level of scale. All right? We thank you.
Okay, so audio question from JP Power. Go ahead, JP.
Hello.
JP, hello.
Hi, Adronis. How are you today?
We are wonderful. How are you?
Not bad. Question about the psychedelics. Brad did wow. He did a couple great videos about his interactions with the mushrooms. And for me, I use the cannabis myself. What is happening to us when we do these psychedelics and when we just go? I call it going through a ringer. Like what does that feel?
Well, in an easy way we can put it, you're bonding realities. So the idea is that the substance that you ingest, whether it's cannabis or whether it's the idea of psilocybin in that way, is basically there is a chemical synergy that's taking place. So you are therefore receiving much of the intelligence and interaction together with the plant in question, for example, the fungus in question, for example, to where your body is now being altered to actually live together through the idea of the reality pertaining to that plant or fungus. So what you're doing is you're sharing realities, and your body is becoming the interface to making this happen.
And the more I've sort of gone on my journey, I've sort of look at myself as that's when you're talking today about love artisan and doing the work daily. I feel like my daily job is to interact with these psychedelics
with
once
love
a day.
and compassion. Yes.
Is that acceptable? I mean, if
JP,
I ask myself, the answer is yes.
Nobody
So
is here to tell you what is acceptable and what is not, because as soon as someone
well, do you have
tells
any
that,
advice then? I guess
they
do you have any
become your
advice?
God. So it's very important. We understand what you're saying, but we want you just to be aware of that. All right.
Okay.
It's not about, again, trying to get another person's acceptance. You're doing this because this is what you feel is for you to do. So everything within your heart is saying, I love doing this. This is something I'm very, very happy about. Continue in that way. There is nothing in that sense that needs to object with such an intention.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Questions?
Text question from Lizzie Azkaraja. Can we enter 5D if we drink alcohol?
Well, again, the whole idea, firstly, is that before we get into the alcohol question, we just told you exactly how you can scale that ladder. All right. We've told you how to do that. Now, when you're working together with the idea of spirits, they're representing that idea of alcohol, you have to understand that your body is not compatible with that nature of alcohol that it is contained inside that substance. Your body will react much more in the idea of seeing a poison being injected into your body. So the idea of what you term in the idea of 5D all bases upon it's the idea of what you would say fractures or fragments. So again, as many of you may have discovered throughout your ancient past, that again, alcohol was often referred to as spirits, because it is quite common to have spirit possession take place through the consuming of alcohol. So in that sense, many of you are more so in a inebriated state of being. It depends upon the person, really. Some people can feel like they're actually walking the astral plane in that way. But when they are inebriated, it's depending upon the person. So a person may be very loving and very joyful, and they will make the most out of that situation, even though there's poison inside their body. Another person may be very, very angry and aggressive and see all these shadowy spiritual beings around them basically saying horrific things. So again, it's a subjective experience. But basically what's happening is that what this does is it forcibly opens up many gateways within your body, like a poison. And that is exactly what alcohol does. There's no real benefit pertaining to the idea of alcohol. It inebriates you into the point where you become completely out of phase pertaining to physical reality. Again, some of you may see other planes. Yes, that can happen. But when you are in that sense caught up in this state of unawareness, and depending upon your state of being in that moment, you can actually have certain forms of attachments place themselves upon you. So we would say it's all based on a subjective response. But yes, you can certainly experience other realms through the idea of such inebriation. You can also experience other realms just by doing deep breathing. You can also experience other realms through what we have suggested, love artisan. All right? We thank you. Questions?
Audio question from Haha. Go ahead, Haha. Okay, nothing coming through your microphone, Haha. Moving on to the next question. From audio question from Val Legson. Go ahead, Val. You may need to unmute yourself, Val.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hello, Adronis. How are you?
We are wonderful. How are you?
I'm perfect.
Good. We're glad to hear it.
Well, I got a question. What's your perspective on Dendera light bulbs on the Hathor temple?
What light bulbs?
Dendera.
We're not too familiar with this. Can you explain it?
Are those carvings in ancient Egypt that they look like two light bulbs on the Hathor temple?
We'd have to see a picture in regards to what you're talking about, because it's not quite computing right now.
Yeah. All right. It's very popular. They are like two big light bulbs, but and
Right,
they
but there
have
are
like
light bulbs of different shapes, is what we're saying.
they have like a snake inside.
All right. Well, this can often relate to the idea of Kundalini forms, but it all depends. We would have to see the picture.
All right. Well, what were those handbags and watches seen in ancient Sumeria carvings?
Handbags and watches.
Yeah,
Many of this has to do with the idea of certain levels of prophecies.
serving what?
Well, basically, if you're looking at the idea of handbags and watches, going back into ancient carvings, these are often the idea of prophecies. About saying what is actually happening. Now, again, there can also be the idea of alleged events of time travelers that also have certain forms of apparatus like that they may witness and therefore put it upon a wall, because to them it was something quite unique.
That they have something to do
all right,
with...
That's 2 questions, Phil.
All right.
We thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Questions?
Okay, text question from Brooke Calcuan. Why is my heart blocked? Why can't I cry?
We've already told you. When the idea of your heart is blocked, you are holding something within your heart, which means you've been hurt. You've been fragmented. There's been something happening, often relationship-wise, that basically feels that you are not allowed to express yourself. You become, in that sense, engaged to states of aggression, engaged to states of harm, and that stays within your heart. So what you want to do, again, as we stated, is love artisan work. You want to go inside your heart and you want to continue to bring it into a state of love. You have to feel what it's like in that way to be in love again. Because often what happens is when your heart is blocked, as you say, it's the idea that you have not been able to transcend a certain situation that has been very, very traumatic happening to you. And this is preventing you from feeling that open heart again because you've shut yourself down. So we would suggest that you look into your past to where you feel like something like that has taken place and give it, in that sense, a great state of loving forgiveness and compassion. As you do that, you work with your love artistry and you continue to build yourself up more and more, and you will give yourself a good cry because you've addressed the very situation or situations that have traumatized you and shutting your heart down, preventing you from loving again. That's what needs to be looked at. All right? We thank you.
Okay, so next question is a text question from Lilia Kumeva. Hi, I have a question on enhancer and eliminator cards. They are in different colors. Are those colors connected to the chakras? I mean affect specific
From how
chakras.
Brad designed them, no, they are not in collaboration together with the chakra centers, but the vibrational rays pertaining to color are the best forms of facilitations based upon the spirit codes that are contained inside the cards. So they, in that sense, work appropriately pertaining to the vibrations that are programmed within the cards, such as what you have just mentioned. All right?
Okay, so text question from anonymous attendee. Can you measure vibration in megahertz?
If you have a quantum scale, yes. But basically something that works together with the quantum field. So again, if you look at certain forms of psionic devices, some people have actually been able to use analog devices to actually work together with, shall we say, detections of electromagnetic frequency energy. They can also work together with, shall we say, psychic energy as well too. So it is specially calibrated, and it basically goes back into the principle of the Tesla coil because it's helping you to connect much more to the toroidal fields, the quantum realm in that way, and being able to, through quite common analog devices, picking up certain forms of activity within those bands. All right, we thank you.
Okay, audio question from Lizzie Azkaraja. Please go ahead, Lizzie.
Unmute. Okay. Hi. Thank you, Adronis, for taking my call.
Hello.
And Brad. Yes, I have a lot of problem relating to my 13-year-old daughter.
All right.
Since she's become a teenager, she's difficult to relate to. Can you help?
Have you considered playing with the Larv Artisan game each day with her?
No, I haven't.
So that may be something to try. Do something together. Because as you start to do it, she'll start seeing how happy you are, and then she'll want to join in as well too. So again, this is what you call just being the example, or as you would say, practicing what you preach. But again, as you work together with love artistry each and every single day about thinking of positive things, decorating the home in a certain way, going out someplace that brings you both into happiness, maybe seeing a waterfall, going out into the forest, going out to the beach. Well, here are some ideas. Just things that make you happy, and encouraging love on a daily basis. That's what's going to turn everything around. As we stated, you may meet people, not just your daughter, but others in life who are feeling quite sour. When you start moving into that sweetness, into that love, you're just bringing that through. You're presenting that to everybody, regardless of how they're feeling, because that's the presence that you radiate. So what we would suggest is continue to radiate your brilliance, radiate your perfection.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Questions?
So, text question from Lynette Durgan. Many times I'll look through my third eye and see various beings, but as soon as they hear my thoughts, they move out of my view.
Yes, you're in that way sneaking up on them.
The other day I felt a pressure, and I looked through my third eye and I saw these beings. I thought they were robots, but then as I looked more closely, I could see they were men in spacesuits.
Yes.
As soon as they heard my thoughts, they stopped and backed up and moved out of my view.
As we stated, you're sneaking up on them. Just because you see other beings within your third eye in that way doesn't mean that they may be fully aware of you, because they are operating in a very different dimension. As we talked about, that there are, just like the example of the ships, another veil that becomes unpeeled, and you're able to notice these ships. Well, the same thing goes, because what happens is you've unpeeled a veil, and there are many different beings that work within these dimensions, and they're just as casual as many of you upon the planet. It's like looking at you going into a laboratory, sitting down at a desk and doing some work. All of a sudden you have this person come up and saying, hey, what are you doing? Like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? There's an idea of being snuck up on. And that's all that's happened. You're connecting with other beings in other dimensions, these astronauts, as we'll say, these spacemen, but they are performing tasks and they're not actually aware that you actually are able to pierce their veil of reality and see what they're doing. And so they have to readjust themselves and say, uh-oh, this human can see us. And now they pull another veil down, because that veil that was once available for you to see them has now become exposed. So the whole idea is that you're just peeping through the hole of different dimensional realities. You're climbing the ladder, as we stated. So yes, this can be something quite common, is you're sneaking up on many of these other beings in these different realities that do not know that you can do this until they actually witness you. It happens. All right. We thank you.
Okay, audio question from Paul Lucky. Go ahead, Paul. You may
Hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question is on paradise achieved in third density reality versus other third density realities. I don't seem to hear too much about that being accomplished. The fact that they have the perspective, it's a common perspective to treat third density as a school versus as an actual heaven on earth situation. Can you talk on that, please?
Well, that is fundamentally true. Yes. So the whole idea of paradise really is something that's subjective. Now, there are other realities that exist in third density that do not have, as you would say, the dualism that humans do on this earth. But because many of you in that sense are still learning about how to work together, because you have this separation illusion agenda that has been on your earth for a very, very long time, this is what has affected the majority of the collective. But yes, there are other realities of earth that existing in the third density, where there is, as you would say, utopian-based societies.
Wow. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, it's all just a big bandwidth. It's a spectrum you're playing with.
Yes, I recently heard that we're a collective and that we're kept in a small restrictive area by the Van Allen belt, so that until we can manifest clearly, because if we don't control our emotions, we end up creating nightmares in higher realms. And I don't think anyone's talking about that too much. And so people don't really get the visual interface necessary for them to make the change.
Well, it's all based upon collective approach, and collective approach moves itself in that way based upon a choice body. So the free will that many of you use to move yourself into a certain state of choice aligns you to an appropriate collective, which means your collective is always changing based upon you as the subject.
Thank you.
All right. We thank you for this interaction. We thank you for your questions.
Good day.
Okay, text question from Esperanza Krieger.
Yes.
Last Saturday, I went to a store and was forced to wear a mask in order to shop. Being pragmatic, I put on the mask. Then I felt a sense of betrayal to myself, for the mask represented an acquiescence to the Dark Ones.
Yes.
So I removed the mask and continued to shop. Yes, people stared. Did I walk in integrity or an ego?
Well, you're looking more towards the aspect of the ego pertaining to belief. Now, Brad has also had these feelings as well, too, because there's the idea of certain forms of travel by boat to go to an island that involve the aspect of wearing a mask. And Brad is very much against the idea of wearing a mask. But in that sense, he's getting much more of a lightening up in that sense of saying, what is it really going to do for you? Relating to the idea about this is where the collective is right now. It's not hurting yourself really in that particular sort of way, because it's only going to hurt as much as you put that pain energy into it. But now you realize that this is where the collective is. It's not going to last very long. It's a temporal thing. But right now, if you truly want to travel to the island, then you're going to wear that mask in a particular way. There may be times you'll be able to take it off or put it back on, but be okay with it. and make it in that sense the most relating to your love energy, rather than a belief in saying, as soon as I put this on, I'll betray myself and I'll hurt myself and I'm going to be in a lot of pain, et cetera, et cetera. You're making it worse than what it actually is. And that becomes, in that sense, a belief system principle. So it's the idea of fractured glass. So basically, in that sense, you notice that you're only just wearing that in the store because that is, again, the consensus. You're getting what you need to. And again, you're making the most out of saying, well, let me pretend to put a mask on myself and I'll physically do it. And I'll make the most out of this situation. I'm going to bring some loving energies into it because now you have a very different experience. So it's in that sense, surpassing that belief, dissolving it, and making the most out of a situation that has been collectively, coherently agreed on temporarily. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so next audio question is from Ali Mills. Please unmute yourself, Ali.
Hi, hello, Adronis.
Hello.
Hi, it's lovely to speak to you. My two questions are, the first one is somebody shared some footage the other day on YouTube of the sun. It was like
Yes.
some kind of footage of the sun, and this lady, she's coming from a very loving place and a very high vibration based on the
Yes.
previous footage
All right.
that she showed, which was like the 2 dimension. I mean, it was just so many dimensional portals around a waterfall. And so this footage she showed of, yeah, it really looked like a spaceship in the sun. And
Oh, well, these do happen quite a bit. Spaceships come out of the sun quite often. Planetary sized vessels in that way.
well,
So they may look very similar to what you would know as spheres.
well, that's the thing. It
They are
wasn't
very
spherical.
large planetary sized vessels. Now, this has happened. We cannot guarantee that that's what's being happening relating to
Yeah.
this footage, but there have been occasions, even through your own NASA satellites, that have detected these very large orb or spherical like spacecraft coming out of the apertures relating to sunspots within your sun.
Well, this was like, I mean, it looked like a spaceship from a movie, you know.
Right.
It did remind me of
Again, we cannot say because we have not seen the footage.
Okay, fair enough. But I felt, I don't know, intrigued, but like it was overall a benevolent thing, not
Again, we
something.
cannot really say whether this is true or not pertaining to that particular footage, but we can say that yes, spaceships have emerged from your sun constantly for a very long time. Because that's a
And they are,
transit gateway. Stars are stargates. So they are transit gateways. So you can actually, through your own modified vessel, fly into the sun, create an aperture, go directly into its center, working together with the aspect of the toroidal field, switch yourself into another particular perspective, and pop out into another sun. So it's like a gateway. So it's basically, as you would say, sun travel,
well,
working together with singularity and toroidal fields.
the center of this ship did have this really pronounced and obvious kind of dark portal, you know, like
Yes,
the
this would be
center
a
of it.
singularity device. Yes.
Yeah.
It's singularity meeting with singularity to be at any point in the universe that it chooses.
Wow.
It's thought invoked.
My second question is more down to earth and related to what's going on here and the energies going on here. And so I would love some guidance and help about that, because it feels very much as if, yeah, the machine was switched off and many people had a vision of a different world and a different way of living personally, you know, individually for themselves, but also globally. And I have just felt and seen just a real push from structures and authority, in inverted commas,
Yes.
to really get back to where we were and have everything the same. And like a good example in the UK would be that during Corona, all the homeless people were taken and they were placed in accommodation. And I heard the other day that they're going to be just putting them back, you know, back into hostels and the really, terrible conditions that they were in before. And so I would just love your guidance and your perspective and help on how do we not have that happen? How do we not like go back to the way that it was? Because I feel such a strong energy pushing for that to happen.
Be a love artisan. Period. That's it. You are promoting love. You are promoting compassion. You are radiating your brilliance towards everybody. You see these homeless people on the street, and you're talking to them. You're giving them love. You're giving them hugs. You're talking to them. You're enjoying their conversation. They feel much more illuminated, and now something within them changes. Not because you've done it, but your energy, your true love, touches them in a way that is very, very precious. And they do that. Yes, you are going to be going through a very large cyclic change starting next year. It's going to be a very large shift that's going to take place. In fact, everything that you know the earth to be right now will not exist in the years to come. It's going to be a very, very different type of earth, but it's going through a transitional process. It's like a person who has a fever. They're going through a lot of this inner chaos within the body. Even though it's not really inner chaos, it's just a lot of movement. It's a lot of dynamic action that's taking place. Well, this is exactly what's happening with the earth right now. She's going through cold sweats. She's going through a fever. She's shifting a lot of these things. A lot of this stuff needs to be brought into the open. Is it going to make people mad? Oh, yes. Is it going to make people upset? Oh, you better believe it. But that's all part of the fever effect. So a fever is taking place right now, but the cold sweats will eventually end. And now everything will be reassorted exactly as it needs to, because many of you already know what is indeed the type of reality that you want to exist in. And you will do absolutely everything possible to make that happen. And the best way to make that happen, be a love artisan, be a spirit ambassador. Yes, that's the idea. It's all about, you're not here to change anybody. You're just here to be yourself and just pass that love on from one person to another, to groups to the other, by you radiating that brilliance. That's what resolves everything. Ego and intellect do not.
No. Okay, well, I'm doing that, but it just seems so little.
What do you mean? What do you mean it seems so little?
Well,
When you go
yeah.
up to a person and you feel that love energy and they start smiling and they start giving you hugs as well too, does that really feel so little?
Well, not on a personal level, of course. That's so beautiful, and
But that
have
is
loved doing
very
that my whole
important. All
life.
you're
But
ever going to experience is your personal level. You're not going to experience the majority of the collective. You're not going to have 8 billion humans hugging you simultaneously physically. But everything that you are doing to bring that love to just that one person is a big deal. That's not something, oh, I'm just nothing, I'm just a person. No, that's a big deal, because that person's working with you. You're connecting with another universe. That person is as bright and as beautiful as you are. That's extravagant. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. It's not about you having to put this big mind probe in front of everybody and say, just start behaving yourselves and just start loving each other.
hey,
No,
guys,
because that is disingenuous. It's about letting people go in their own way, where you are radiating this brilliance and they will pick it up on their own. There's a very, very old saying, and it was actually said by Mahavatar Babaji. You have a mixture of sugar and sand upon a hill, and a wise ant will always just go for the sugar and leave the sand alone. So, what this is saying is, just attract yourself to where love exists and let the rest be, because it will sort itself out. It's intelligence beyond what you can fathom through an intellectual mind. Yes?
okay,
So
thank you.
let the sand be the sand and enjoy yourself collecting the sugar as this wise little ant. That's all you have to do. You're not responsible for the population. You're not responsible for anybody else. Just be you and radiate that brilliance everywhere you go. Being a love artisan, being a spirit ambassador. That's all you're here to do.
Okay,
No one
but I do.
expects you to say, oh, Ali will save the planet. Ali will take care of everything. She'll be on the biggest throne and we'll throw her all this fruit, etc. No, you're not up to that. That's not what anybody is here to do. Jesus wasn't even here to do that. Everybody here has their own plan. They have their own work that they are doing, but they are working through themselves just to be this presence, rather than thinking that they have this savior complex. It's getting out of that and just have a compassion, truth. That's what matters.
Okay,
Each and
I
every
understand
single
that.
one of you are responsible for how you continue to work through the earth. Each of you is responsible, not one over another. So we know what you're saying, Allison, but the whole idea is that this is going to continue to work as an idea of transcending past cold sweats of a fever. That's what's taking place. We know that many of you say, I don't like the idea of having homeless people on the street. Well, in that sense, it's their choice. You go up to them, you talk to them, you send them love, you be present with them. Respect where a person is, even if it's in a wretched place. Give them love and compassion without being judgmental of where they've decided to put themselves. It's their choosing.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you very
Adronis.
much. Questions?
Okay, text question from Andre Regis. Regarding the concept of aurora, what is the secret hidden meaning behind the true aurora?
Aura.
Aurora.
Light, radiance, brilliance, intelligence, vastness, God, really, soul. But we would say upon it all, God. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Simple as
And
that.
second question from Andre. Which crystal is the strongest, or more like most
There is no strongest crystal. Again, everyone, please pay attention. Reality is subjective, right? Reality is by interpretation, which means one of you could pick up a quartz crystal and you have all these other different assortments of crystals, and you pick up that crystal, and this is the most powerful one you've ever held. And here you are with all these other ones, with fluorite. Here you are with smoky quartz. Here you are with amethyst, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. But you pick up this one quartz crystal, and it's more powerful than anything you've ever felt. Why? Because of what is contained within the crystal, because of its source. That's what matters. There is no such thing as a more powerful crystal upon the other than what has been subjectively viewed. Look into your quantum mechanics and understand exactly how reality works. Many of you are still looking at it objectively, and this is incorrect. It is about subjective observation. It is about subjective work. It is about subjective application. That is therefore the nature of your reality. You have never experienced the earth. You've experienced your earth. And it's what you're always going to experience. Stop looking for things generically. And generically, this must be the most powerful thing. No, there's no such thing. It is what you feel you have put together that you feel is really powerful in this moment. Because again, as you progress through time, you may discover even something even more powerful. And what that represents is just the aspect of external feed telling you where the power truly lies. It's in you. Stop thinking something outside of you is more powerful than you, because there isn't. It's always here. It's your center. That is the most powerful thing that exists, because that is where God resides. All right? We are happy to take 2 more questions from 2 more people before we conclude.
Okay.
4 questions in totality.
Okay. Another question from Esperanza Krieger. A few months ago, in the middle of the night, I saw 3 short whitish grey entities at the foot of my bed. I couldn't move, but I could see them. I felt a sensation that felt like my body's sheet being pulled off me. Then I did a long exhale and they were gone. What was that all about?
Experiencing 2 realities at the same time. Because basically what happens is you experience what's known as phase paralysis. When you are in phase paralysis, you are actually being conscientiously aware of physical reality and, as you would say, astral reality. So basically what's happening is that there's these entities that can come through, for they exist in that astral plane, and they are basically dephasing you so that they can have, in that sense, some particular access relating to the physical realm. So you, in that sense, become their buffer. As you take a deep breath in and deep breath out and relieve it all, release it all, that gateway now closes, because you're in that sense no longer giving them power. The power returns back to you. Many of them will engulf you based upon states of fear or anxiety or panic in certain ways. And many of these become intruders. So whenever that happens, bring the power back to yourself. because it's that very emotional outlet that they use for you to function as a proxy while you're in sleep paralysis. So you're in physical and astral reality simultaneously because you're dephased. So when you start to take a deep breath in and deep breath out, because you can still breathe when you're in sleep paralysis, and you bring the power back to you, whoosh, they're gone. They no longer can feed off your fear because power returns to you. So that's advice for everybody that may go into sleep paralysis states and all of a sudden start seeing these other beings here. Quite commonly, these can be intrusions. Sometimes it can be brought forward through guides, but they will often explain what they're doing. But in the majority sense, it is often intrusions or invasions, basically dephasing you, putting you into sleep paralysis and feeding off your fear so that they have a bridge, a proxy to work together with the physical realm. So they're coming from their reality into yours. They grab a hold of your emotions because your focus is on them. And now they can start working in both realities with you being the proxy. But by you returning your power to you, taking a deep breath in, I am God, I am Christ consciousness, divine and great perfection and absolute brilliance, gone. Because the power has come back to you. So that's what we want to remind all of you. Bring your power back if you feel unsettled relating to those sleep paralysis states and possible intrusions. All right? We thank you.
Okay, text question from Azita A. How do burning sage, candles, or similar things clear the space?
Well, it depends upon their energy. It's depending upon, shall we say, the potency contained within sage or candles in that way. But basically, it brings forward an aroma that is actually a cleanser. So actually, when you're working with different levels of sage, there are a natural cleansing chemical reaction to it when burnt. So it actually creates, in that sense, somewhat of an antibacterial effect, but it is much more of a cleanser. The smoke itself is a purifier. And certain incenses and candles can also do that as well too. But it basically purifies the energy. It's like taking salt, sea salt as it were, and putting that into water to basically be used in that sense as a purifier as well. So this is just another different type in regards to chemical makeup that's allowing your space to be cleansed antibacterially or any other particular forms of purification rituals that again helps to clean out, shall we say, stagnant energies. Sage works in different dimensions, and it can actually, in that sense, clear the cobwebs pertaining to any particular forms of stagnant emotional energy, mental energy that is contained within one's space. Sage has the ability to clear it. That's why, in that sense, it is often used in regards to its property, going all the way back into your native traditions because of its effect in regards to physical and astral maintenance. All right.
Excellent, thank you. Okay.
2 more questions. Thank you.
I have one question myself regarding emotional healing.
Go
So
ahead.
let's say, for example, someone's feeling depressed and they have the idea that they need to bring love energy into themselves, but would it be more beneficial in that regard to do both? So look into the reason why they're feeling depressed and go within and feel why they're feeling depressed.
Well, that would be step 1. Step 2 would be the love, pertaining to the idea of you being a love artist. So in that sense, if you do not know what you're going to clear, how are you going to clear it? You want to have clarity in regards to what you're feeling. So is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it fear? Is it abandonment, rejection, abuse? What is the lack? What is it that you're feeling? What do you feel it's connected to? Not looking into the depth of the story, but just seeing this idea of the cobweb. Here's the cobweb connected to this corner of the wall. And then it moves all the way here and it's connected over there. And I see in the center of the cobweb, fear. Oh, there you go. I have identified it. So I understand its position within myself as a cobweb. And now that I understand that, I have clarity in regards to its nature. I can now move forward into love energy. You can do the BCR technique, you can do the TC technique, etc. And you're basically using that love energy to again be the, shall we say, catalyst to resolving that old cobweb. Here you are with that little brush, taking away that cobweb through the love energy because you've been able to identify it with clarity. So clarity comes first, removal, release, dissolving of it comes second.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. Another question here. So in that way, it's not like just bringing in love on top of that depression isn't going to clear the depression itself. You have to look into the depression.
Love will clear all. Love will clear everything. But as we stated, it's clarity that comes first. So here you are depressed. What are you depressed about? Oh, maybe it's about an old partner. All right. What happened within that depression? Oh, we just basically broke apart because we felt that we couldn't get on each other's good sides, and there was arguing and there was fighting. So how did you feel about it? I just felt sad. I felt sad. Did you feel angry in any way? No. Did you feel fearful in any way? A little bit, because I was afraid of losing her. Well, there you go. There's clarity, just that, just from those simple little sentences. And now that you have that clarity, you can now start to bring in the love energy, and you start to coat that energy. You start to bring love, because your clarity has now become aware of the opposite pertaining to despair. It's now become love and understanding and compassion, and saying that you have learned from all of this. You have become a wiser person with all of this. You have become a lot more intelligent relating to the nature of relationships because of this situation. So it's like you are receiving this telepathic encouragement, empathic encouragement at the same time that you're bringing in love energy. There's just a clarity. So that clarity allows love energy to come through and coat that energy and clear that cobweb and set you free from that experience. So that that experience now becomes neutralized. It no longer has any substance that is grabbing a hold of you. It's been neutralized, which means you are aware of it. You have not forgotten it, but there is no more any emotional charge relating to that situation. That situation has now become neutral. Do you see?
Yes. That's great. Thank you. Okay. We have a text question here from Deirdre McNeil. My ears have been ringing since about 1998. The volume gets louder or softer, but has never completely gone away. What would you recommend to end the ringing?
Clear the toxicities, especially metals, out of the brain, because this is primarily what's happening. This is the idea of metal toxicity. So what we would suggest you look at is the medical mediums heavy metal detox smoothie. All right. This is very, very profound. When you use this particular form of smoothie and you're drinking it daily for several months, and what this is doing is it's helping to clear out all of the metallic toxicity within your body. Your brain, in that sense, over time gets a great buildup pertaining to heavy metal toxicity. And so as you start to clear that out, not just through the brain, but through much of the major organs and bodily systems, your body now starts to function better. Whenever you're getting constant ringing, this is the idea of an impairment. It can relate to the idea of metal toxicity and calcification within the pineal gland. So by working together with a smoothie like that, you can also look into the free card that Brad has provided on his Healing Code Cards website. It is healingcodecards.com, as he says. And there's a free sample card there. It is also referred to as the heavy metal eliminator. And you can also use that as well too. So by using the smoothie and the heavy metal eliminator over time, within the weeks and months ahead, you will notice that that ringing will become less and less, because you're taking out the heavy metal toxicity and calcification toxicity that is causing a skewing pertaining to your magnetic field. And over time, that will start to decrease and therefore be completely healed. All right, so that's what we could suggest for you. We thank all of you for the opportunity of this interaction, for all of your questions. We thank Zach as well for being the moderator of this interaction. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
I am Adronis of Sirius. We will now conclude and return to the conduit. Goodbye for now. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. That was a great session. I really appreciate it. Great webinar today. Thank you again, Zach, for being here as well, too, kind of on short notice. You did a great job. And again, thank you for everybody being here on Zoom and everybody being on YouTube as well, too. Again, tomorrow, I'll be doing a New Earth Teachings webcast as well, too. I had to kind of delay it yesterday because I had a foot injury, but my foot is actually about 95% better now. So I'll be doing that tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific. So feel free to join me there. And again, thank you for being a part of this month's webinar. Again, this is a free webinar, but if you want to leave a donation, either on the YouTube Super Chat or on newearthteachings.com, just go to the donate page on that website, and you can leave a PayPal donation as well, too. But yes, we'll have another webinar, free one, next month with Adronis as well. Thanks, guys. Take care, and speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Thank you.